Oh, let's welcome this us Aurora again. All right, good evening, everyone. So it's nice to be here. I want to thank the Ministry of Family to Family Class for inviting me to speak with you. I pray that you will find this information useful and it will be enlightening. So I'm going to talk about, I'm happy that we started with Dr. Ramsey because he's kind of like give you an overview or broadness of what aging is about. And females, a lot of what he's mentioned is exacerbated as a female when you go through menopause. So you have the normal symptoms of aging as well as menopause to deal with. So I hope that, which one are we using? That one? Am I going right? Right, okay, good. So by the end of this session, I hope that you'll be able to define menopause, explain the 4 categories of menopause, list some of the symptoms experienced during menopause, and outline some of the treatments or remedies. So from time of birth, we begin to age, from the time we were born. And then and we go through different milestones throughout that time, developmental milestones. So females, we have all the other milestones that everybody would have, but menses and menopause are, I think, the 2 ones that kind of stick with us, right, as females. Because most people here, I'm sure, females-wise, would remember when they had their first menses or menstruation, or what was going on that day, right? I still remember what I was wearing and what I did, right? And then when menopause comes, then you have to go through another big phase of your life. So menopause, by definition, is a natural aging process. So all females will go through this as long as you get to a certain age. It usually starts around the age of 40 to 51. It can last about 4 to over 5 years. And most people on average around 51 years would have started to go through menopause. I don't know if you can see this very well because it looks cloudy for me here, but this is just to give you a little bit of picture and better understanding of what I'm talking about when I mention certain things. So you have your ovaries. When you're born as a female, you're born with all your eggs already. You have about 1 to 2 million eggs already when you're born, and you lose a lot of those as you go through life. So every month you will lose some, even from birth. So you will lose about 1,000 immature eggs a month. But you only ovulate 1 egg monthly when you start in puberty, when you get your menstruation, right? That egg is ovulated and it comes out of your ovaries. You see you have both ovaries on both sides. It goes down your uterine tube, which is called your fallopian tubes, and they enter into your uterus. If that egg becomes fertilized with the sperm, then it implants into your uterus and you're pregnant, and you go through pregnancy. You have your hormones, so your ovaries produce three hormones: estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. We don't talk a lot about testosterone in menopause, but testosterone is still important in relation to female hormones and menopause. So you'll see here that with estrogen is essential for your egg development and for your female features, and it affects almost every system in the body: urinary tract, cardiovascular, bones, muscles. And as Dr. Ramsey said, aging affects all your systems as well. So with progesterone, that is only released after you ovulate, and that prepares the uterus for pregnancy, and it helps to support your pregnancy as you go through. Testosterone affects your red blood cells. It deals with your menstruation and fertility and your muscle strength. And men will have more testosterone, obviously, than women, and that's why men have more muscle mass and they're stronger, deeper voices, that kind of thing. So menopause is divided usually in 4 categories. I have here premenopause, perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. Well, some books, if you're trying to research menopause, might not have all 4. You might see they might just concentrate on the 3: perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. Premenopause just suggests that you've not started, you haven't had any symptoms, you've not started yet. As long as you had your menstrual period, premenopause starts until you get to perimenopause. So that's the time prior to any symptoms whatsoever. Perimenopause is when you start to get all your physiological changes. So you get things like your cycle starts to change. You might have irregular periods. Some periods might be stronger than others or heavier than others, or they might stop. Some months you wouldn't have a period for like 3 months, and then you might have a period after, it might be heavy. So you get a lot of irregularity in your menses around your perimenopausal stage. This can also, you can start to experience this about 4 to 10 years before you go into a full menopause, right? So you might start to get symptoms and you might not be realizing that they might be related to the fact that you are perimenopausal at this time. You might start to feel really tired. Some people might start to feel really tired. Some people might get a lot of joint pain and muscle pain. And you might just be thinking, well, I'm just getting old, as Dr. Ramsey, all these things. You might be thinking I'm just getting old, but actually you might be getting ready to go into menopause. So menopause now is after you've had 12 full months of no period. Then you can say you're in menopause. So 12 straight months, you've not had any bleeding whatsoever. So a year has passed, and you can say, now I'm in menopause. Then you will start to see symptoms that will remain and be constant. So there's not any irregularity. You're constantly getting all the symptoms that I'm going to mention soon, which some have been mentioned already. And usually this will begin, as I said, around the age of 51. And that's when you stop having any eggs develop, and you, again, as I said, no periods at all. Postmenopause, well, postmenopause, it will suggest that menopause is finished now. It's after. Post suggests after. I think that this is a time that every woman might be waiting for, right? Because we don't like periods when we do have them, and we just can't wait till when they're finished. But when they're finished, we can't wait then for the menopause to finish. Because when the period's finished, we got all these other problems, and then we're hoping and waiting that, oh my God, I can't wait till I pass this menopause, right? And that's where I am at the moment. So we got all your symptoms have ceased, and you feel liberated and ready to really live now. I think they celebrated in quite a few cultures, mostly indigenous cultures and in certain tribes and whatnot, that women that we then become like spiritual leaders and stuff when they've passed through the menopause. So types of menopause. So you can go into menopause naturally or spontaneously. That just means that your time has come, you've passed through your process, and it happens naturally. But for some women might go into menopause artificially, either by surgery or it's being induced. As long as you've had your ovaries removed, you will go into immediate menopause. So symptoms will come sudden, without warning. And if it's induced, which is another form of artificial, it will be because of some kind of treatment, maybe chemotherapy or radiotherapy or radiation. And you can also go into menopause prematurely. So any menopause you go into before 40 will be considered premature, but that can also be either surgical or natural. Or what I should say is artificially or naturally. But as long as it's before 40, then it will become or considered premature. Symptoms, lots and lots of symptoms. Some that you might not even realize is related to menopause. And I've given you all the systems that menopause will affect. So you get a decrease in your female hormones, as Dr. Ramsey had mentioned. You have these hormones, all of those decrease with aging. For female, it will be your female hormones, and those will affect you physiologically and psychologically. So women get not only physical, but they get psychological. So menopause is a good way to just bring all these things together, because it gives you a little bit of both. So you have changes in your metabolism that affects all these systems. So your vasomotor symptoms will be things like your hot flashes, your night sweats. So you wake up at night and your bed is soaked, or you're sleeping and you got to turn on or get up and turn on the fan or whatnot. And then after you've done that, then you get cold and shivery, because then you get the chills, because now so you're confused basically. And then you confuse your partner if you do have one as well, because they might be in bed with you. So this occurs in about 60 to 70 women. And usually, not usually, some women might experience a slight anxiousness just before a hot flash comes on. Not everybody will experience that, but again, when we're talking about experiencing certain things, everybody will experience things differently. And although some things might seem similar, your factors might make your experience quite different. Respiratory and cardiovascular symptoms might include things like deepening voice, increased cholesterol levels. Again, you might think that this is just, part of aging, but it could be related to your menopause. Some people will get the increase in cholesterol too from bad eating habits, I should say. So you might get palpitations as well, and an increased risk of coronary artery disease. In the integumentary system, you get dry skin, thin skin, itching, hair loss, change in body odor. So you might find that all of a sudden you tend to think you can smell yourself a little bit more than usual, right? And that is because of menopause. In the musculoskeletal system, as Dr. Ramsey was talking about, you decrease bone mass, and this puts you at higher risk of hip fractures. So if you fall, more than likely you might get a hip fracture. And again, it depends on your age, yes? Osteoporosis, you're more at risk of that. And spinal compression fractures, frozen shoulder, you might find that your shoulder is a little bit painful, or you might be getting some joint and muscle aches, and you're wondering what's happening now, All of that could be related to your menopause. And I just recently came across something from a doctor called Dr. Vonda Wright, who's an orthopedic surgeon, and she was talking about something called a musculoskeletal syndrome of menopause, and that basically just covers everything to do with all your muscle pain, all your joint pains that you might be feeling. Gastrointestinal, so you get a sluggish digestive tract, and we talk about, and Dr. Ramsey mentioned constipation again. So here we go. Everything to do with old age we get and more. And then you get the weight gain. So you find that as you get older as well, you start to put on weight. And this is because metabolism is slowing down as well. Genitourinary or urogenital symptoms. This is where it all kind of comes together. You get your decreased vaginal secretions, dryness, itching, bleeding, incontinence. You find you want to go to the toilet every minute, increased frequency of urination, pain when you pass water, dysuria. You get decreased breast size, I hope not. Thinning of pubic hair, you get loss of labia minor. I mean, the list goes on and on, the possibilities. Your uterus shrinks, that is if you still have one left, because you might have had a hysterectomy, or it might come a little bit when it's fibrotic, it means it gets firm and hardish. The cervix gets smaller, ovaries become smaller, you know, things aren't being used anymore, so these things will start to shrivel and get small, right? Increase of UTIs, as we mentioned before. I missed that joke. Did I miss it? Sexual function, the symptoms, so you get pain when you have sex, decreased intensity and duration of sexual response. You don't have any libido, so you don't feel like, and you get decreased orgasms for some people. Again, some of these symptoms, everybody's not going to get all these symptoms, but these are just symptoms that some people would have experienced or might be experiencing. And then the psychological symptoms include things like headache, insomnia, can't sleep, or if you do sleep, you wake up in 2 hours and then you can't go back to sleep for another hour or two, and that's a constant battle. Fatigue, irritability, men like to say, you know, you're miserable, right? Before you had menopause, and when you get menopause, it's even worse, so you're more miserable now, right? Mood swings, anxiety, depression. Some women do go through a real serious depressive state and actually have to see psychologists and psychiatrists, etc. And start to also experience things like panic attacks and that kind of thing, things that they didn't have before. And then memory loss, that, yes. Brain fog, you're talking and then all of a sudden it's like, wait, what was just saying it? You know, crazy. It's not dementia as yet, it's just brain fog. So, treatments. I wanted to just tell you guys a little bit about natural treatments rather than just the HRT, because everybody would know about HRT and whatnot. But things like healthy diet and herbal remedies and exercise is important, and you will hear a little bit about exercise in a bit. But then we have these HRT, or the hormonal replacement therapies, and they can come in many forms: orally, topical, you know, sprays, transdermal, pessaries, rings, gels. There are a whole range of them in different ways. And these replacement therapies, the different types. So you can get estrogen only, which we call ERT. And that's for women with no uterus or ovaries. You might get a combination, which is estrogen and progesterone together, and that's the HRT, and that's for people who are approaching or have reached menopause, but they still have, if you're going to get progesterone, you still have to have your uterus, right? Estrogen and testosterone, usually that will be prescribed if somebody has had found to have really low levels of testosterone in the blood. Then you have things like foreplay and more foreplay. And more foreplay, I mean, you can't get enough of that, because that's what helps to lubricate your vagina. All right, so not just, you know, suddenly want to and just come and get ready and go. That's not going to work. You need to do some Kegel exercises, and Kegel exercises is just strengthening your so you're doing your contracting and whatnot of your vaginal muscles. Lubrication is important. It might be water-based or otherwise, because you can get lubrication that has like estrogen creams and stuff. Wear light clothing because you're going to be hot. And exercise, if you're going to exercise in a cool place. And I think that for me personally, I used to exercise a lot before I went through menopause, and I stopped because I couldn't imagine going in the gym and sweating. So you might want to exercise in high air condition like here now because it's getting cold. Healthy diet. You want to avoid spicy foods because that's just going to get you hot. Avoid caffeine and alcohol. And then there'll be herbal therapies. So some of the things that you can eat, you might have heard that yam might help. And that's because it's a kind of a plant version of estrogen. Soya beans or soya products supposed to be helpful in maintaining bone density and reducing breast cancer. You got things like tofu, linseed, your yams, as I mentioned, carrots and whatnot, pomegranate. So things like sweet potatoes, calcium-rich foods rich in vitamin D and zinc, and some of these things you might need to take as supplements because sometimes you can't get enough of these things from foods alone, and sometimes you have to supplement. And avocado and vitamin E would be good as well. And you got your herbal things like evening primrose. Everybody might have heard about evening primrose. I didn't hear about the lime blossoms and the motherwort before, but those are also things that you can use as well. Sage and rose kind of water and those things. So I'm sure there are more things that you can use that are herbal. If you don't want to go on to medication, I know my surgeon, some doctors are not very keen on just giving you HRT, but it is a personal thing. So you would have to decide and agree with your doctor. And that's it really. Thank you. And I know we'll have questions at some point. So.
Thank you once again. Interesting session, when they say so. What do you think? I mean, there's some information in there that I need some questions to ask, some answers to some questions, so I'll just wait until that time. I'm sure you do too. Our final presenter for this evening is Mr. Jamal Babel, who is our expert on exercise, so we'll hear what we need to do from him in terms of the against exercise that was being recommended by both Dr. Ramsey and Alicia. From an active youth in several sports, Jamal found himself as a volunteer athletic coach. From there, he realized his calling and has been an American College of Sports Medicine certified professional trainer since 2009, known as the ACSM. The ACSM is considered by many in the fitness world as the gold standard of certifications and has strict recertification guidelines to keep this on your name. He has accumulated a host of other certifications, including most recently his Precision Nutrition Level 1 Nutrition Coach certification. He is an American Council on Exercise certified lifestyle coach, along with being certified by them as a nutrition coach. His hunger for all things health and fitness means he has been certified in numerous disciplines, including Zumba and spin at level 1 and 2, kickboxing and kettlebell at level 1 and 2, total resistance exercises or TRX at level 1 and 2, and almost every other discipline that involves movement. Having trained clients ages ranging from 80 to 84, Jamal knows the benefits of exercise to everyone's health. Help me welcome Mr. Jamal Babel.
Good afternoon, everybody. I apologize to Tech. As a person who has been moving in the city for so long, my neck over there, gonna ask everyone to do me a favor. Everybody just stand up. Everybody up. Everybody sit down. For a second, I have a point. Alright, one more time, last time, everybody up. Everybody is up. Everybody up. I know everybody have a seat. Now I did this for two reasons. I want to make sure we're all here still. So now we're all still in the room and we just squatted. And a squat is a very basic exercise. So we use the chairs, and as you get older, you will squat with a chair, not have the ability to move. And that's a very simple exercise you can do at home. So before we go any further, let's add to that background that was given just now. I'm a little bit younger than most people in the room, so people might have this tendency to be like, well, this youngster can already tell me about health and all this stuff. That's fine, that's cool. This will be 9 years. I lost my mom to heart issues. My grandmother on one side has high blood pressure. My other grandmother has heart issues. My grandfather passed away 2 years ago from cancer, and my other grandfather 5 or 6 years ago from diabetes-related issues. I say that to say, looking at me, believe it or not, I am actually pre-hypertensive, and there's nothing I can do about it. It's in my blood, doctor can actually tell you about that, and I'm exposed to family heritage, and I'm exposed to a lot of different things. So when I was younger, being active was fun. It's who I am. I can't sit still for too long. It doesn't sit well with me. I work in the office. I went crazy. It's not who I am. So when I was younger, moving was just who I was. And it was a little bit for the aesthetics and things. You want what the big ones. But as I've aged and learning all of that stuff, I had to, something flipped in my mind that showed me that I had to look at my health differently. So the only reason that I'm not hypertensive fully or have other complications is the fact that I'm active and moving. So despite the fact that I'm starting at a disadvantage, my active lifestyle has somewhat kept me and kept me moving. So Dr. Ramsey here said a lot earlier, and it basically pointed out that he's my friend, sure, but he's also my enemy. And I say this to say, I want to keep you from giving him money. That's basically it. I want to keep you from having to go and see him. But we work together in a way for your health and the benefit. The more you're going to him means that you're probably not coming to me, and vice versa. So I want to keep you from him and just move. So with that in mind, the first thing we have to answer is what is exercise recently. So I'm not going to cover any big definition, anything fancy. To sum it up, exercise is anything that's going to raise your heart rate. It's going to bring that heart rate above the normal level. It's going to make you have to get a little sweat, a little perspiration. It's going to make you move. And coming from that, one of the questions that friends and family always ask me is, so Jamal, what's the best exercise to lose weight? And my answer is going to be very simple to you. It's the one that you like to do. It sounds funny to say that, but I say this because I can tell you, lift up weights 5 days a week, and you hate lifting weights, you're going to fall on one side. You're going to stop from doing it. I can tell you, walk 2 miles this amount of times a week, and you hate walking. You're going to fall one side. You're going to stop doing it. So a lot of times, it is what you like, what motivates you. It is what you can get yourself to do. And exercise is anything. My mother-in-law does my dancing twice a week. It's socializing for them as well. But it's exercising. She's moving. You know, they're doing their little steps here and there. And for them, it's not a big deal, but their heart rate is up. They're moving, they're keeping healthy, keeping that cardiovascular and everything going. And that's their exercise. Some people love to lift up a weight. It helps. I'm going to sidebar here and say, well, I personally am biased to the gym for exercise, for something like you said earlier, because weight training is in the prevention of osteoporosis. Osteoporosis when you start to get a little bit older and start to get that hunch posture, because after a certain point in time, you can't replace your bone. Your bone starts replacing itself, starts to break off. So then you start to lose bone density and get a little shorter. Joints are not going to change, but your body kind of arcs to make a difference up in the distance. Lifting weights or strength training, squats, good example, push-ups, stuff like that, helps to increase your bone density. So as you get older, even if you're losing some, you have extra, because we're short. Let's be honest here. We're short people. Our average height is reasonably short, and then when you get older, you get shorter. So we're trying to prevent this. So that's why I like strength training. I say that, just there's a squats, that's strength training. You can easily take a school bag, you check out a school bag or something, put it on your back as an extra weight, squat like that. You can fill some bottles, that adds to the weight. That's a bicep curl, that's a weight. So we don't need to be fancy, you just need to move. And then another thing that comes from exercise is what I like to say, quality of life. We just squatted, we just sat in our chair corner. Right, that's straight, we get older now, we start to know, oh Lord, oh gee, oh boy, everything, woo! Father Lord, thank you here. And you're sitting down, and you struggle. When you want to get back up, you might go call the grandchild, come in here a second, let my hand, you go, pull yourself up, and you know. It might sound funny, but we know this is real life. So exercise is to help us not have to do that. Exercise that we can sit in our chair, we can get up, we can walk up the stairs and not be like, give me a second there, so not be puffing. So by exercising as you go, this helps with a better quality of life. I have Claudette. Claudette is 83 this year. Claudette is from Italy. Claudette went on vacation in Italy. She told me she went up and down this place and she was left and right. And she said, Jamal, she got Jamaican accent. She said, the husband, he was struggling. She had left it behind because he couldn't keep up. She said, well, the little thing we do in the gym helped she. She was up and down, she was moving about. And when she got walked, she had to stop away because he holding she back from doing, she's like singing. So this is my goal as a health professional. Quality of life. Then, get it from the other side, back to Dr. Ramsey. Let's be real, if you know Barbados, we're an overweight society. I say, anybody offended, I'm sorry, but we're an overweight society. I say this meaning, like our main foods. They got 1,000 shepherds. KFCs, Burger King came here a few years ago, and we got that for them. We got fast restaurants everywhere. All of them always have a line. You always have a line at all of them. They're high in sodium, high in fat. Then if you cook at home, we make it macaroni pie. We got we got coleslaw. We got potato salad. You know, we fry the chicken. Even if we do a little rice, we might wash down in gravy, right? And we're making homemade gravy too with the sugar. And, correct. When we cook it, we love piece of buttercream. I send false in there. So all we're doing as a people is we're adding, sorry to say, there are 3 things that make food taste good. Sugar, salt, fat. Are all of that. All of that. Exactly. But we don't do moderation. I keep it honest. We're gonna go to a restaurant and we're gonna order pasta. Everybody Barbados love a chicken Alfredo. We go to a fancy restaurant, we order a chicken Alfredo. We order some other stuff. We ain't tasted pasta yet. salt on the plate. I like. we didn't put a fork full of pasta we don't yet. And we don't it in salt because it needs salt. It tastes bad without salt. And black pepper as well. So as a people we have exposed ourselves to all of these things that are not exactly good for us. We don't do it in moderation. We like to drink. We just drink alcohol. It's a fact. When people say a rum belly, what a rum belly is not a rum belly, exactly. It's an everything else belly. Let me explain what that is. There's a sequence of energy in your body. If you have alcohol in your body, it gets used first. You got carbs, that goes next. Fat goes after that, and then protein only if your body is desperate for energy. Protein is just for building muscles, building bones, building brain and tissue. That's all protein is for. Alcohol has 7 calories per gram. Carbs 4, fat 9. When you have alcohol in your body, that's already a lot of calories. That's a lot of energy. So your body uses the alcohol first. Burn off all the alcohol for energy. That means all the food you eat, all the carbs and the fat, the body doesn't use it. And all fat on your body is unused energy. So if you're not burning something that you eat, your body is saying to you, I may want to say later, we put one say. We put a little piece here, we put a little piece here, we put a little piece here. So the only way you can lose any sort of weight is if what you are eating is less than what you are burning. Right? So with our culture of high fat, high salt, high sugar, we are always putting in more than we're taking out. So that's where we need to exercise. Exercise comes into play. My grandparents, maybe your parents, etc., they were better off than us because their day-to-day activities were active. Everybody had a car. When granddaddy wanted to go and check a girl, he got to get on his bicycle, ride. That's exercise for him. We all didn't have a lot of office jobs and stuff. We were moving, we were working, we were moving, and we were working. Now it is, we get up, we sit in the car, sit on the traffic, we get to work, we sit on our desk, we get up from the desk, we sit in the lunchroom, go back to your desk, sit down again, get up, drive home, stop in, drive through, go home, sit down, and we've not moved about much except from your chair to maybe the washroom or to your chair. Whereas so your father was riding up and down, granny was working in the fields or whatever, even walking to the bus stop. A lot of us have gained weight after we left university because we don't walk anymore. At least at university or secondary school, you had to walk between classes. That was exercise. You weren't thinking it was exercise. When you were walking from class to class, you were moving. Now, if you want to go from here, I work at Versailles. That's about 10 minutes walk from here. Walking, we can get in the car, we can drive across there. We can drive back. Nobody's going to say, all right, let me just walk up the hill here and I'll go right turn. That's insanity to us these days. So we're not burning off anything and we're eating more high calories. There's less vegetables in our diet. There's more processed food. So we're eating more and burning less. So we're making ourselves more and more unhealthy, and we're adding to all these things that Dr. Ramsey would have spoken about earlier. Exercise helps to, let me stop myself. I deal with this on a daily basis. Exercise helps. But exercising does not mean that we eat what we want to eat. There's a balance. Still have to, I'm not going to start here telling you what any like. I have eaten KFC this week. I was out busy. Home was far. I popped in. But I'm not eating KFC every day. I cook a lot. And it helps like that. So I'm not telling you you can't have something. I'm just telling you every day is gonna add up. And so every day you need the quality of life and stuff. So we come back to it. People start telling me about like too old, can't start the exercise, I can't start the gym. What are you talking about? Our oldest gym member is currently 96 years old. And she comes to the gym 3 days a week. Before her, Mrs. Marsh, rest her soul, was 102. And Miss Marsh passed away during COVID. And I tell people, it's my belief that because she isn't active anymore. I can show you the video on my phone right now. At Mrs. Marsh's 100th birthday, we had a little party for her. Miss Marsh was doing she little two-step at 100 years old. Miss Marsh at 100 years old came to the gym 3 days a week, once with her trainer Anita, and twice in our active seniors class. And she never missed a day. Miss Marsh only missed the gym when COVID shut us down. That is God's truth. So, as she always said, it was the gym that helped her move. One of our members, anybody know Professor Henry Fraser? His wife, Maureen Fraser. He gives me the world of trouble. Maureen has given me trouble from the first time I started in this industry because I didn't have a lot of rhythm. Because rhythm outside the gym and rhythm in the gym, hearing the beats and moving, a little great, like, good and sharp. But when I start, I get awful. I am not gonna lie, it was awful. And Maurice is dragging me in the class and then she will support me. And to this day, Maurice in her 80s. And true story. We have class, the second bar, Maurice plus 20 bucks. Second bar. So the class called Rally Bomb, where the instructor controls how fast we move and stuff. Young fella, look at this man here, so I can tell her like, come in the class, look around, see Maureen Wade on 30th slide. Start with squats, knees start to buckle. Good. Eventually squats, we have some deadlifts. And I'm in the bathroom for about 20 minutes. That is the truth. But Maureen has been moving. I know Maureen in the gym before I became a trainer. Maureen has always been moving. She's always moving. Maureen does 2 classes in the evening back to back. Maureen will do my neck class at 5 and then spin at 6:30. And she's in her 80s. So it's never that we're too old or anything. We just have to start. And in our society where we have so many, it's easy to sit at home and watch TV all day. Straight from here to there, you got 1,000 channels, we got streaming services, we got YouTube. It is easy to not want to move. You can tell yourself, all right, and then next week, it's gonna be in September, then November can come. All right, we got Christmas cleaning to do. I can start in the new year. All right, we get past this brightness. I can start in February. And it's August next year, we ain't there for a week yet. But we're still eating the same foods and still tacking it on here and there. And then you want to put on a little dress, church, snug. As a fella, you want to put on pants and get no, my belt shrink or something. And that's that. But even if it's not the gym, walking, that's exercise. You get around, walk in the neighborhood, and to come back to the theme of this project, you can make it family. Family or friends. Get up, call brother, walk around the neighborhood. I don't know if anybody in this room does it. I know some of the senior folks that walk with those scissors, and if you see a little pretty plant, a little lipstick and hair home for yourself. You know this happens. Swimming. You're surrounded by the beach. Even if you ain't swimming, this in water, throwing your hands like this. That is exercise again. Simple things like line dancing. Exercise again. Hurry up. If you have not exercised in a long time, you've never exercised, before you come see me, go show Dr. Ramsey. I say this because he will let you know if you can do certain things. When you come to me, you tell me Dr. Ramsey said good to go, then I will work with you to suit. Like what we do at my gym, we're going to do an assessment first. I check your body fat, check your flexibility, I check your strength. After that, I give you orientation. And when I'm doing my clients on orientation, it's also another assessment. Because some of us can move, others move like school days, so everything a little cranky, everything a little oily, and you start to go from there. So we start to move. Even if you don't want to come to the gym, go to see, tell you, well, you know, you can do this and do that. We have YouTube University. You can type in exercise online and it comes up. And there are very simple things you can do at home. Like I said earlier, you got the squats. You like to dance, turn on a little video, dance up. Once you get that little perspiration on your forehead, and it's exercise, heart rate up, and you're good. At least 20 minutes though. If you do exercise, the minimum they say is 20 to 30 minutes, 4 to 5 days a week. That's just all 3 days a week for your cardio. Strength, they say 2 to 3 days a week. Moderate, 30 minutes again. So you see, it's not a lot they're asking for you to give the exercise. This is the minimum that the American Council on Strength and American Sports, American College of Sports Medicine and the American Heart Association, mixing it together. They basically say this is the minimum amount. But exercise is a Ponzi scheme. I keep putting into it. I keep putting it, unfortunately. But the more you put in, and one of the therapies, the more you put in, the more you get out. So if you walk once a week, my mom used to walk 3 days a week, you got no more advantage of walking more often. If you would do 10 push-ups today, and that's it for the rest of the week, and you need 10 push-ups 4 days a week, you have a little bit more. But all the while your heart is getting that exertion, that heart is working. And if you ever want to know how you're working, it's something we call a thought test. Thought test is very simple. If you're supposed to be exercising and you can carry on a complete conversation with no breaks, you're working hard enough. If you want to know if you have the correct exertion, you should be able to talk. So let me get an example. I come and I go, well, how are you doing? That's so far. If we come and you're like, you know, Jamal, that's perfect. Because I have to find the ear from the muscles now to talk. If you come and say, oh yeah, man, I good, man, if I treadmill here, I'm walking, everything cool, man, how you family? You ain't doing nothing. You're challenging yourself. So you want to be at the level where you can answer me, but you need to breathe to answer me. Right? So run a little over time, you know, work your audience, got a little carried a little bit. But any day, it's Olympics. You don't have to exercise to be an Olympian. It's exercise so you can live long enough to see the next Olympics. And maybe the one after that. Fair enough? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jamal. Now open for questions. Any questions? Anybody with any questions? Nobody with any questions? I want to ask.
Sorry, 1 second. Anybody who actually interested, I wanted to at least try the gym for days. I walk with a couple passes. First come, first serve. If you want to try out, I will give you out. You can come and try the gym for a week.
I want Jamal to show us for sure what type of exercise exercises you can do while you are still home without going to the gym. Using probably the chair or something, because we tend to think that we have to go to the gym. So just a few exercises. The gym is located in
Where does Crossroad right here?
Crossroad.
So you know where
Surfside
PwC
Gym.
is? The right turn, opposite PwC.
Just past
Just like the road from here. If you leave here and you turn left on the main road,
and then turn right.
then first right turn.
So I just want you to show us just a few exercises that can be done.
Pull one.
So that persons can see they don't necessarily have to go to the gym all the time. If you don't have the facility, you can actually do it.
So like we started with before, squat. It's a very basic exercise. It's a light movement, like this. And a lot of us can't squat without help. As you get older, the joints wear down a little bit. So free weight squats can hurt. The only thing I want everybody to say is you don't want to be squatting on those couches that's huggy weighted. If anything, try squatting at the dining room table. That goes. So this is squat, this is exercising right now. When you first start, you have to sit down first and get up, go back down, but work to your level. You're gonna feel the burn here, feel the burn here. Another one you can do, once Dr. Ramsey clears you, is a lunge. So the lunge is once he clears it because the lunge is a little harder on the joint. If you have any problems, you can go ahead and lunge. So what you use the chair for, is that when you get older, your balance isn't always there. So you just rest one hand on the chair, one foot back. So the lunge, you want to make sure all 10 toes are pointing in the same direction, and that back heel is always on the floor. I support myself with this chair. Go as far as I can with no pain, back up. As far as I can with no pain, back up. So that's a lunge.
How many times?
What?
How many times?
Beginners normally you can do 2 sets, 15. As you get better, you can add a third set. Or you can switch to working at time. You can start with like 30 seconds. As you get better, 45 seconds. And a minute, you really get expertise. 3 to 4 rounds. And then 50 seconds, right? So you see we do a lot of our classes, we do 45 seconds. So that's just enough time. And it's fast, easy, and it starts to work. But everything we do in fitness has to overload more change. If you take some water bottles, full of water, full of sand, it's a bicep curl. It's the bicep curl right here. Soften your knees, chest forward again. Always Google the correct form or talk to someone that is professional. Make sure your form is right. Soften your knees, push your hips back, chest forward. Start in line with your chest, pull to your belly button. Bam. As we call it, bend over row. That's your back. You can sit in your chair. When I say sit in your chair for older folks, I don't want you putting any strain on your back. You can sit in a chair, hold your water bottles. Bam. That's my triceps. That's this muscle here. So, and as a black lady, that's where you store a lot of fat here. Now, fellas, your hands look good. Your hands look good. Your hands look good. Your triceps. So here, older folks, bicep curls. You can sit in the chair. Bicep curls. Also for your shoulders, young boys, you can do this. The reason why I say young boys can do this, as you get older, your shoulder tends to degenerate and stuff, wear and tear. Everybody else, here. And you go to the range and you feel comfortable. When you're doing this, soften your elbows, a small bend in your elbow, and you're here. Now, if you go here comfortable, that's fine. If you get it here, that's fine. You don't want to go here. Just from here, here. Work to that range of motion. What people tend to do, they got the resistance bands. So use the bands for all those moves. Put your foot on one, curl, you can roll, you can do another with your arms, biceps. Here, dash. Dash. So you use, I heard somebody at Jimmy Cole use cans. She used canned goods. Curl. She curl her canned goods. She put, when you get too late, put some in a bag, and curl the girls' bag. Or when your grandchildren, school bags. God, or the kids' bags. Those are all ways. As they get easy, put another book in it. And you go from there.
Thank you very much. Let's give him a round of applause. The floor is open for questions.
Question to Ramsey. Sir, thank you for your wonderful presentation. However, my concern is about the elderly. And we know there's some elderly persons who would have been probably mentally challenged, some who would have been disabled, and then they reach the stage as they get older, they suffer from dementia and the other degenerative diseases and so on. Now, that places a lot of stress on family members and so on. Yet, they speak about empowerment and rating persons and families and so on to society rather from the homes and hostels and these kind of things like that. Then how practical, how rational are some of these theories that are being voiced forward and so on? How caring is our society when we look at these challenges? Sometimes it seems very unfair that for somebody who might would have been disabled and aggressive and so on, have cognitive challenges as well. And the family have to deal with all that. And then, as they get older, we have dementia and so on. And all of these things, a myriad of problems coming in for the family. Families under pressure. The arteries getting stiff, as you said, but you still have to deal with all of these things. How do we, as a society, deal effectively with these issues?
Okay, I mean, that's a loaded statement question. Okay, all the persons who, let's say disabled persons, anybody, young and fit or young and disabled, we will all age. Unfortunately, those who are disabled or have already started at a disadvantage because we're still in a society, I believe, where disabled persons, where disabled persons are, they're not embraced fully within society for various reasons. The persons may not feel comfortable being out and about in society. Society may not have the resources, the facilities, to encourage them to be out and about, etc., and for them to be employed. However, we all come, the disabled as well as those who are not disabled, when they reach the stage of becoming old. There are often not enough resources out there to take care of them. What can be done is that, well, it has to be approached from a number of levels. From the individual level, the individual would need to be, I guess, educated. The family members would need to be educated as to how to manage themselves, how to optimize their situation. Then we need the help from the government, where the government has resources where these persons, disabled and elderly, who need assistance, can actually have help in their own homes. This is where the National Assistance Board provides for home help, and then recently the companion program. And then, of course, there's the other level now where, you know, someone, let's say, is totally disabled, there's no one to care for them, where now the government, you know, or, you know, our taxes, you know, the government will take care of those persons in facilities which are limited but those persons may have to be cared for in a facility where there are trained persons to meet their needs. So it's, and of course these, you know, everything that I would have mentioned takes resources. It takes, you know, family commitments and involvements where the family can, you know, where the family needs to do whatever they can, you know, to assist the individual. Once the family cannot help, cannot go any further, this is where the state, I think, should come in and be able to offer assistance. And then, you know, at the level within their environment, within their own community, within their environment, and if then that is not enough, then the ultimate level where the person can be taken into a facility with persons trained, you know, to look after persons with that level of disability. I don't know if I don't know if I answered everything that you would have asked, but.
Okay. Additionally, the aspect of the mentally ill and the cognitive challenges, those that have been mentally ill from young, then the dementia steps in. And it is stated that it's very difficult to have somebody that is mentally ill and has dementia, if they're not taking their medication, if they're schizophrenic and so on. Then how do we, as a people, a caring society, then help those families who are burdened with caring for these persons, and then they're aging as well, and it takes a toll on them, and then they become aggressive, they do all kinds of things. How do we, as a society, adequately deal with that? So, I work in an environmental correctional office, and about a third of the population mentally ill, and there's some who just knocking and banging and just seeking attention and being disruptive and so on. Sometimes I wonder, why did the presiding officer send them to the correctional institution? I believe that they should have gone to the other institution. But we have to deal with that. And sometimes these persons are old as well. You can't get over to them, you can't reach them. But every day you have to deal with these issues. How do we as a society help the families that have to offer care and so on to these people?
Again, it's you know, quite complex issue, and what I would advise is this is where the health professional would need to come in or be engaged to assist these individuals where, you know, where needed, doctors, psychologists, because you don't want to just, as you say, just, I mean, your experience, I do not, I respect I acknowledge your experience, what you're saying in the correctional facilities, but I do know, I think it was in the UK that a few years ago when many mental health facilities were closed because I guess it was thought that, but not mental health facilities, am I right? There was an issue as it relates to how people that were mentally ill were being treated. You shouldn't send someone to prison, to jail, you know, who has a mental health issue that's not addressed. Okay, so I mean, I can only say that it would be important that those persons that have mental health issues be assessed by the appropriate health professionals, and then I guess the health professional can help guide what happens to these individuals, whether they go to jail or whether they, go to the mental health facility for treatment.
I want to ask a quick question. Since you're on the topic of dementia, I was just wondering, is there anything in place to help families, to assist families who have to deal with family members who have dementia? Is there anything in place for that?
They're right here, Barbados Alzheimer's Association. You have the Barbados Alzheimer's Association is here, and they do a lot of work in helping to educate caregivers. They do a lot of work in assisting. Yes, the Alzheimer's Association is there to help the caregivers in particular who have to live with and deal with persons who are living with dementia. And you can learn a lot from the Alzheimer's Association, and they can share. Usually they have literature that they can share with you, and they also have members that would have had experiences, caring for people with dementia that can, often they would have had similar experiences to what, other people are going through, and they can help you. So again, it's an organization that can help. What else is there? Education. The Alzheimer's Association does education as well, but you can educate yourselves. You really need to go out there and read and educate yourselves about what's happening with the individual. And I'm speaking on the premise that a person has already been diagnosed. If the person has not been diagnosed, do not assume that this person has Alzheimer's and just give up on them. There are a number of health conditions that can cause people to have cognitive issues. I was going to say brain fog, but there are a number of conditions that can affect people's thinking and cause them to appear as if they have dementia, but they're not actually having dementia.
I just want to follow up on the lady's question. We're talking about there so much dementia and Alzheimer's, but what is happening that is leading to this here, and how can we curtail it? Okay, I'm listening to Jamal and lady. Yes, we do our exercise, we do whatever, but in this present moment when our cognitive skills are fine and so forth, is it that we have to look at our diet, look at our exercise, our interactions, and so forth, so we don't get, because we need this we're on a train and going down some crazy road. So hey, let's pull it back and see. Me, what do I do at X age to try to curtail and slow down that process? Because it seems like I woke up, I went to sleep and I woke up and half of Barbados have dementia or Alzheimer's or whatever. But some of us have to pull it back. How do we go for how our lifestyle, whatever? I told a friend of mine the other day, I'm presently practicing to be a wonderful old lady. Okay? Because we have to, when we end up being a wonderful old lady, we would have been a wonderful young lady and middle-aged lady. But so we have to be conscious. So what has happened in our society that this here has been blown 100-fold, and how can we, who are still in our right mind, we can slow down the process so we don't get there. Because really and truly, I mentioned the government and so forth. We have to help ourselves. We cannot wait for government. We have families, people in our household who need help, and we need to be able to be there for them and be able to know what to do to go through. So I just want to know, why is it crazy, and what is causing it, and how we can do it. Do we do more exercise? Do we visit Jamal? Do we read more? We crochet more? We do things to curtail it.
Yeah, you've got all the right answers right there. Exercise, stimulate your brain. Do things to stimulate the brain. Learn new things. You need to eat healthy. You need to eat the right foods. And there are so many factors that can contribute, but exercise, I think, is one of the keys to many of the negative effects of aging, including developing dementia. So exercise is one of the things that you need to do more often, and you need to eat healthy. You need to stimulate the brain. Come to sessions like these and speak your mind. But listen to others and hear what they have to say as well. Why are we seeing so much? I would have mentioned earlier that, I don't know if you were here, but Barbados now has about 19% of the population over age 65. That's based on the 2021 census. And so we have a lot more, and the older you get, the greater the risk for developing any one of the dementias. So our population, we were looking at the census, I was looking at the census data, we went from about 12% over the 65 in the 2010 census to percent. It makes me wonder, what did we, just as you said, what did we miss? What happened here? And I didn't manage to go through the contributing factors to why we got such an old population, but one of the key factors is that the birth rate is low. It's been low since the 1950s, less than 2. Or it's 1 point something, it's less than 2. And 2, you need to replace the population. And our young people are leaving, immigration. People are immigration, people are leaving. So, and of course, yes, people are dying. But our population is aging for those reasons. So the government has a headache now as to how can we maintain, our population is contracting, how do you maintain now our population? So in the interim, we have a lot of the persons that are left. We have people coming back home to retire in Barbados, which is added to the older population as well. So you're gonna see more people because of that with dementia. All right, so, and of course like as that Jamal would have described how we eat and things like that. So yes, okay. Right, so we have a challenge, and as you said, we all have to work together, trying to reduce the risk, reduce the numbers. We will not continue to grow ad infinitum. There will come a point in time when the rate of growth of persons with dementia will level off, and it will start to go down, because it has happened in other countries as well.
I just want to mention the use of foil is also another contributing factor to Alzheimer's. We do a lot of heating of foil.
I'm
Not
sorry.
necessarily use of foil.
We would disagree. We would disagree on that one. Yeah, it's one of the myths. That's one of the myths. Yes, aluminium or aluminum is one of the myths of Alzheimer's. Yes, because they found when the research was done as it relates to when people were studying the senile plaques, they found aluminium as one of the factors there. So that was a theory that aluminium, cooking in the pots, etc., was a contributing factor. But it hasn't played out as it relates to the numbers. We would probably see a lot more people with Alzheimer's if it were. So
In addition to the Alzheimer's and the dementia situation, I have come across lots of concern pertaining to isolation among the elderly, and they are very lonely. I know the National Assistance Board, they offer the cleaning service and the companionship, which stops around maybe about 6 in the evening. But you see those hours between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. in the morning, it is so gruesome on the elderly. They are looking for those persons who can come on board and, offer the comfort of being there in their homes at night, 6 p.m. until 6 in the morning. Even if they have to come in at 9, the time they will be going to bed. And they wake up very troubled the next morning, and they don't know where they are at. They are fearful, they are anxious, name it. Dr. Ramsey, how can you help? You're going to make some pleas to the government and the agencies out there and to family members that they can come on board.
yes, those are the answers. Family members, friends. Yeah, we're gonna have to all work together we have to identify the problems or the challenges that the older people see as important to them, and then try to address them. But the government can't do all. We can't pay enough taxes to do it. There's going to be a lot of community support is going to be required.
Questions for Ms. Osborne Laura. You mentioned a lot of factors in relation to menopause for women, but I didn't hear you mention any in relation to men. And there's some men in here, and we know there's some issues that happen to men. So could you give us some information on that as well?
So issues for men is to be more understanding of the women. I did have some information about andropause, as they call it, andropause, or what they call it, midlife crisis, which I took out of my presentation because I thought Dr. Ramsey might have mentioned. But anyhow, men do have or do go through a phase that we call midlife crisis, and that's due to, I guess, their reduction in testosterone, which is their main hormone. But Dr. Ramsey might be more better to discuss that with you or answer that for you than myself.
I'll try to address that. Right. So the fall off just as you have a fall off in estrogen, which is a male female hormone, you get a fall off in androgens with men as they get older as well. And all of the changes that I would have mentioned that occur with aging also are accelerated, after men reach that. It's around 50 as well, okay? And there's loss of muscle mass is one of the chief factors as it relates to androgen deficiency. Loss of muscle mass, so loss of power, strength and power. There's loss of the libido, sex drive, as a result, loss of erections, the ability to sustain erections. There's depression that can also occur. So those are some of the big ones that tend to happen as men lose their sex hormones, and they can be addressed. In other words, there's hormone replacement therapy for men as well. But again, hormone replacement therapy, men and women do have their side effects or risks. So, men can become aggressive, especially if well, there's some bodybuilders in the past, I don't know if it still happens, who used to take hormones. And one of the androgen is these anabolic steroids, which are androgen-like. And one of the issues that they would have is this, they seem to just fly off the handle really easy. They get angry for no reason, well, for little reason. And it can increase taking the hormones can also raise your blood pressure. So one has to monitor blood pressure. One also it can also raise the blood count. So if men taking these androgen replacements are not monitored, you have a stroke. And the stroke can be because of a combination of the high blood pressure and the increased blood count. So the blood count may go up to about 16. The hemoglobin normal for a man is up to about 16. And it can go up to 18 and 19 and stuff like that. So hormone replacement has its risks. So it's not something that's often taken lightly, but people do go ahead and do these things on their own. And without knowing the risk, people can get access to things and use them. The same way how, I'm sure a doctor didn't prescribe the androgens for most of the bodybuilders who used to use them. I don't know if they still do. But, these things can be accessed. So I don't know if is there anything else that, I think those are the chief points as it relates to the andropause, right?
I get similar depression and fear of not achieving, what we expected to achieve in life. So you get that depression. That's when you find that when generalizing here about trying to find a younger female and this kind of thing is kind of make them feel a little bit better for themselves, boost themselves, that kind of thing. But yeah, basically it is what Dr. Ramsey said, and they can use replacement just as females can, but you must obviously speak to a doctor before you decide to get pregnant. I guess some of the same natural foods and plants and mentioned can also help.
Well, as it relates to, one, I didn't mention this, but I will mention this. So there are drugs that men use for sexual enhancement to improve erections. Those are once used, under the advice of a physician or a doctor, they're safe. Most of them, the way how most of them work, we always advise not to take it if you're taking certain other drugs, because like nitrates, the drugs, people who have heart disease, who have like ischemic heart disease, who get angina, chest pain, they often take nitrates, drug called nitroglycerin that is spray under the tongue or put under the tongue when you're getting chest pain. Those people should not use these sexually enhancing drugs like Viagra and Cialis, because the blood pressure will drop so low. It will cause the blood pressure to drop so low that you have a stroke or a heart attack. So there are things that can be done safely to help, to maintain sexual activity, etc.
Okay, thank you. We are going to take 2 more questions from the floor as we wrap up this evening.
Sorry, may I ask a question, please? This is a different one to what I wanted to ask you. I think in the back end, I heard mention being made of something to do is I just want clarification. Young men trying to older men going after the younger women, and this was to do what?
That was in relation to the question about male menopause or andropause, as we call midlife crisis.
And this was the recapture.
Yes, that's right.
Start to do
No, because I've heard this before, but I've had difficulty in putting the two together. A lot of things come into play when men go after younger women, right? And I do not think that in itself, the explanation given, is the explanation for it, but it's only part of the equation. Because I tell you this much, if men go through or have similar experiences in terms of reduced libido, there is no man that I know of who, given that specific challenge, goes after young women. Why? Because he's too embarrassed that he's going to fail. His performance will not meet the grade. That's a fact. That is maybe the route that he would take, he or she would take. As a matter of fact, a lot of young men doing it and they don't need it. So it's not necessarily out of need. They're doing it out of the social stigma and standard that has been set. And mostly by who? You females who say you don't know yourself. Everybody's out there to talk and don't know what you're saying. We gonna have more here. Unless I'm told by the person in charge here.
Even because even in the gym, we have issues with ego. So it comes back to ego, and everybody has.
It's what he said.
So
we're
trying to look the part. We're trying to reach this high standard. So a lot of times, and it's not just. It sounds funny to say, but it's not just on us males too. More and more with how social media is in the world. There are a lot of females in the gym who are pushing themselves to trying to reach this societal norm now, this higher level. So I very much agree with what you're saying. The pressure society puts on people. You always see youngsters come in the gym, young boys come in the gym, and they're doing the most chest press, and the form is awful. And you can't tell them to lower the weight, because if you lower the weight, you're gonna look less man. But they want to post the videos because they agree the chest and the arms get the girls. So it comes back to the pressure they're trying to impress girls now. We want the fast car, we want the big muscles. So what you say has a very valid point. I see it every day. We all want to impress the girls.
Okay, I just want to, we all got here this evening, we heard what things that will affect us as we get older. And I'm saying that my sister over here, I want to be a good old lady. So it means to take care of ourselves now. Not when I mean from young, from school, from primary school even, secondary school. Take care of yourself from then. So that when you get older, you feel good. And you get, like the old lady said, you don't have those problems mentally. Because if you deal with your problems now, as you get older, you don't have to deal with them then. So you prepare yourselves all now to be a good old lady, an older person, or even a man, even men. So we do it now. Take care of ourselves now, our eating, our exercise, mentally, maybe counseling, maybe talking to some person. But if you do that, as you get older, you age gracefully, because as you get older, somebody said, do think about things that you should have done that you couldn't do it in men, and they get angry, they get annoyed. Happens to women too. Yeah? And there's a mental issue. If you do it now, put things in place now, as you get older, you cannot minimize all the time. Menopause does not make it easy at all. It does not. It's hard.
Can I say something about that? When we talk about that, we have, I want to say, a selfish trait. Because sugar is a drug. Sugar affects the brain the same way drugs do. You eat something full of sugar, you feel good, you crash, you want more sugar. It's where I say we're selfish. We teach children to like sugar. that child grows up from young liking sugar, liking sweet foods. That transitions into adulthood. There are children, I can tell you, who don't drink water. They take to school soft drinks or juices that high in sugar. So when we're saying we want to help ourselves, you have to understand we're fighting what we were taught when we were younger. And we're teaching those below us that this is the norm. So if you're thinking about changing yourself, consider your children, consider your grandchildren. What you teach them becomes a habit. You teach a child from young to drink water when it grows up. You might drink water to other things as it gets older, but it's going to have that water foundation. But we're teaching children from young juices in the morning. Am I drinking more tea or not today? Juices, drinks, snacks, and the child goes to school hyper the whole day, can't focus, but that's their norm. And it goes through, and then you're 29, 30 with heart conditions, all sorts of conditions from having that base when they're younger coming up. So we can't just think about ourselves, think about the children go.
That's changing now. A lot of young children are taking water to school instead of listening to that's changing.
Okay, good evening. I'm speaking in general or personally right now. What the gentleman there said. When you wear the shoe, you can only give your example or experience. And Jamal, I like your style, reality. We are laughing here this evening. I came here, I was invited here, and I came here because I saw theology, God. 1 Corinthians tells us, first, people perish for lack of knowledge. We can smile, we can sing, we have gifts, jobs, all kind of stuff. But when you are wearing that shoe, when you're in that situation where you have a family member that has dementia, what are you going to do? But I lost my mom also in 2014, and I changed my life, changed my eating. Because I tell myself, biblically, if my mom have dementia, I blotted it out. My Bible tells me that. I'm not accepting it.
No.
So I decided to change my eating and eat plain. No more grease, salt and sugar, you need it sometimes, and that sort of stuff. But I just want to tell you all that my mom had dementia, diabetes, and although you might ask for help, it's a personal thing. And at the end of the day, 1 Corinthians tells us, you might have the gift of prophecy, understanding, knowledge, faith. You can move mountains, and you don't have love, we're nothing here.
It's true.
And we don't know what tomorrow brings, what no brings, people. We are laughing, yes, but I've been through it with my mom. I had a mom that rejected me, but I stick to Bible principles, the Diva third, love. Everyone say to me, how could your mom treat you like that? You treat her well. And she used to do a lot of nonsense to me. Wait till when she gets in the hospital, she would stool up all her nighties, give me to wash them. One day I was at the pipe and I heard a voice say, wash those nighties and go put something nice on it and go and give her, put it to her nose and tell her, Mom, you took care of me when I was young. I'm here to take care of you now. My mom cried and stopped it. Dementia is something, this is a personal thing between us. When your family member take ill, what are we going to do? It was so hard on me, I called in home help. They don't do anything much, don't do anything, people. We have to face reality now, they don't do much. They don't do much, what are you going to do? I used to lift my mom, do all kind of stuff for my mom. She didn't love me. Last year, this is my husband here, my brother said to me, sure you know, Mom used to say she loved me, but you know my mom never told me she loved me. What are we going to do without love? This world is only going to change with love and working together. We black people have to stop pointing fingers and check ourselves.
Yeah.
If we start, like the young lady they say, start to make ourselves better, we won't have time to criticize others. Ah, hallelujah, Jesus. People, it is okay to laugh. When your family members stay ill, you can go and drop them in the hospital and leave them. It's judgment on you then.
Yes, yes.
I only came to this because it's a theology. This season, people, we have to get serious because the food doesn't have anything. We don't know what is coming our way. Chemicals are in it. And you know what? Why we're getting dementia? Women stop cooking with MSG. Also accused, I'm like, because my grand never cooked with those things. It is a foundation, like what Jamal said. At my age, I swim, I box, I kayak, I run. Hallelujah, Jesus. Because in 2014 when I lost my mom, I changed my life. I do 80 push-ups a day. People, it is a mindset. It's all to talk pretty. It's all to be great. But come down, take off your mask, and get real. Humble yourself.
Amen.
Glory to God.
Thank you very much. I'm going to hand over to my colleague this evening, Roberta Rappaport. Thank you.
Good evening again, everyone. Aren't you glad that you came here this evening?
Yes.
Were you filled? Did you gain some additional information and knowledge? Well, my job here is very simple. I'm here to give the vote of thanks. So first of all, we could not have this without the Almighty God. So we must give praise and thanks to Him for allowing us to be here today, giving us life and breath, and for allowing us to make the choice to come here this evening to be given knowledge that would help us in our daily lives, in our families, and in everything else that we have to do, because it's not only our family life, it's also our church life, it's also our work life. As my friend said, we need to share the love. So I'd like to thank, first of all, after God, the leadership of the church, Pastor Joel in her absence, and the leadership of the church for allowing us to come here this evening and have this session. I'm sure that you would take away a wealth of knowledge that you can go and share with others, your families, and everybody else, your neighbors, the person who you meet on the street, the person who lives down the street from you who is, like Pat said, is alone at 6 o'clock in the evening. Go and share a word, share the love. To our panelists, Dr. Ramsey, thank you for sharing your invaluable expertise with us. You were very influential in helping us to understand the intricacies of the aging process, so I thank you. Ms. Alicia Osborne-Worrell, thank you too. You have certainly provided us with new ideas about how we can deal with our lives, especially as women. You didn't really touch on the men, so you have to get a session with the men on next time. But at least we have an open door where we can understand what we are experiencing for those of us who are experiencing it. Mr. Bogel. What can I say? Thank you for your inspiring words. Thank you for your demonstrations. Thank you for your tips on how we can improve our overall health and well-being, and the range of programs and activities that we can engage in. And don't think that I'm not old, I'm still very much vital. And I would just let everybody know this is a little testimony. Up to June last year, I was a sand baby. I paddled in water and I would go no further. But after June, after seeing other people swimming and saying, well, hey, I need to do that too. So I can swim now. And I told Roseanne, I swim out to the boats when I go swimming, as opposed to pedaling the sand. So exercise does work. And with respect to gaining more knowledge, come to WIST. WIST would keep your brains occupied. The assignments are very intriguing and challenging, and you need to use the brain to figure them out sometimes. So WIST is an avenue for those who want to stimulate their brains, that you can come and use that avenue to help them to keep on top of things. So yeah, that's an avenue. Thank you, Mr. Jamal Bagal. To my classmates, Roseanne, Maxine, Paul, to our tutor, Dr. Ellsworth Neal, I'd like to express my thanks, because without Dr. Neal's inspiration and his tutelage, we would not be here today. And without Roseanne's and Maxine's and Paul's input, y'all would not have had such a wonderful session. So thank you, Roseanne, thank you, Maxine, thank you, Paul, and thank you, Dr. Neal. I'm also honored to extend a heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you for coming here this evening. You weathered through the rain, and I was told that in some parishes the rain was pouring, not in St. Michael, thank God. That's why we had this seminar here, so that y'all can come. So thank you for the Alzheimer's Association. Thank you for the podiatrists who were here, but I guess they have other activities to attend to, so they have left. Thank you, Vincent, for coming and displaying your products. And also thanks to Jim, I can't remember his last name, who I would suggest that you contact him. You would have a wonderful massage. It's very relaxing. It put me at ease from the get-go, so I didn't really want to get up out of his chair. But it's a wonderful experience, so I would suggest that you'll, even if you don't use the services that Jim provides, go to a massage therapist, and you will feel totally wonderful afterwards. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. But before we leave, we have a small token of appreciation for our panelists. And it would be a reminder of this evening's activity, and I'm sure that they will treasure it as we treasure their coming here today and providing us with knowledge that we probably never had and that we can go and expand on. And I hope that you can allow us the privilege of getting your presentations so that we can share it with others. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening once again, and have a good evening.
I gonna send this to him.
Pardon? Yes, please.